All right. Good morning, everyone. Quick sound check. Make sure everyone can hear me. What's up, Parker? So there's a slight delay. So it's kind of interesting getting used to the stream just because I have the preview up on one screen and it shows me in real time. And then I have another preview up of what you guys actually see. And there's a little bit of a delay there. So kind of interesting there, throwing me off just a bit. But let me know that you guys can hear me. What's going on, Caitlin? How's everybody doing this morning? Happy Wednesday, I guess it is, right? So halfway through the week, got some fun stuff coming up. It has definitely been some interesting action here over the past few days with the markets here. And unfortunately for me, I haven't been able to capitalize on them as much as I would like just because uh, last Thursday my computer decided to crash on a Windows update. So don't do the most recent Windows update if you don't have to. So that was a lot of fun. Was able to restore like all my files and everything, but unfortunately lost all my bookmarks, all my settings. So still rebuilding TOS just a little bit and trying to tweak things back to how they were. But anyways, enough of that. Let's dive in, take a look at the markets here. So what I want to do is if you guys have any symbols you want me to take a look at, whether it's stocks, futures, Forex, whatever the case is there, feel free to throw them in there. If you have a trade, if we have some time at the end of the morning trade plan here, what I'm looking to do for the day is if you have a trade from yesterday or you have a trade on currently, and just kind of take a look at those and see what is currently going on with those positions and what's moving in the market. So first thing I like to do here, I've got the 5 grid set up here, and again, like I said, just trying to get all my settings back right. But what we're working with here, top left of the screen here that you guys can see is going to be a 5-minute chart. Top right here right now is currently an hourly. This I'll switch back and forth between a 987 tick chart, and again, like I said, that setting is not right. So let's go ahead and do that. If you guys don't know how to go ahead and make some custom settings, we'll go ahead and do those with you right here this morning. So all I did there, and let's see if it'll change it to a 5-day. Boom. Awesome. Apply and OK. So if you guys don't know how to do that, that's all you got to do is come up here and customize your list, and you can set your time frames to however you would like them. So go ahead and I'll switch this back and forth between 987 tick chart and the hourly chart that we're going to be working with here this morning as well. And what I want to do with my hourly chart, I want to get 180 days worth of data, and there's that. And then I also want to make sure with this that we have adjust for contract change and start aggregation at market open. So a lot of times on an hourly chart, for those of you that already know this, but for those of you that don't, if you don't check that, it'll start the hourly bar there at 9 o'clock as opposed to 9:30, and that is not what I want to see. So, all right, we're all set up there. Let's take a look at the economic news here that we've got coming in for today. So 8:30 a.m. we had some PPI numbers there. And realistically looking down through here and looking for anything that's in red, and I don't see anything there. Now we do have a 101 10-year bond auction, so that's going to affect the /ZN there with the futures contract. So if you're trading bonds right around the 101 time frame there, Eastern, please keep that in mind. But otherwise, a fairly relaxed day here when it comes to news announcements that we've got to be aware of and try and avoid. So let's take a look here. I've got the NASDAQ up in the top right is the chart I'm going to be doing my analysis on, and you can see we're down 46.5 points here in the NASDAQ. And if we look at the overall markets here, so top left of this 4 grid here, S&Ps you can see are down 9.5 points or 0.33%. NASDAQ here top right is down 47 points or 0.63%. Russell here in the bottom left is down about 7 points there, 0.42%, and the Dow here is only down 69 points, or about 0.26%. So right now we've got the Nasdaq leading the move to the downside. Nasdaq is the weakest on the day at 0.62%, and Dow actually, a relative being the strongest here, only down 0.25% on the day. So something I like to look at here first thing in the morning and just kind of get a baseline sentiment of what is moving, and then from there you can drill down into each individual index and see, for example, in the Nasdaq, maybe Apple, Amazon, Google, Netflix, something like that is weighing that market down, and we can take a look and see what's going on there. So that's what I'm seeing so far here with the overall sentiment. Now, taking a look here at the Nasdaq, we've had a nice move down here, about 400 points here, give or take, from 7,700 down to 7,300. We're currently about 50 points off of our lows down here. And what I want to highlight here, the levels that I'm going to be paying attention to for today. So we've got 72, 98, 75s in place here, and we haven't quite gotten down to that level. We've traded just a few points lower here from where we're currently at in the Nasdaq. And then we also have a 73, 93 quarter level here in the Nasdaq as well. So we've got a fairly large range, and what I'm looking at is there's a lot of potential chop and slop inside of this about 100-point range here. So with trading, I mean, obviously you want to be able to put on positions, you want to be able to take trades, make money, day in and day out, but there's just some times where you just don't have a setup and it's best to sit on hands. So what I'm seeing right here is we've got a really, really big range that the market could do almost whatever it wants inside of, at least on the hourly chart. So I'm going to drill down into the 15-minute chart here and take a look and see if I can't pull another level, and I can. I can pull that level right in here at 73.2650. So I'm going to go ahead and make that a different color just because I pulled it from a different time frame, right? So that level's coming from the 15-minute chart and then back to the hourly chart here. So what I'm going to be paying attention to today is first move down in the S&Ps here, or in the Nasdaq, sorry. If we can go lower, we should be able to tag this 73.2650 level. And if we're able to get to that level from that point, that's going to decide, at least for me in my mind, whether we're going to continue down to 72.98, 75s, this lower blue line right here, or if we're going to be able to get a reaction off of 73.2650, find some support and regain strength on the day and get a move back up into 73.93 quarters, right? So that's kind of the overall outlook at the moment. So we got about 20 points, 30 points to the downside in order to wait for that potential setup, at least when it comes to level to level. So in the Nasdaq, fairly quiet looking day so far setting up here. Big ranges, but nothing actionable right off of the open that I'm seeing. So let me go ahead, take a look at the S&Ps here. And S&Ps are currently trading at 28.78.75. They've been as low as 28.76 or so this morning here. And I got a level in right here at 28.69 quarters. So S&Ps have had a nice move down, right? Same thing with, obviously all of the markets here. We've gone from about 29.50s up here down to 28.70. So about an 80-point move in the S&Ps there. We retraced, about 30 points or so between yesterday and the day prior. And now it's a matter of, okay, are we going to retest this support level down here at 28.69 quarters and then look for long opportunities? And in my opinion, yes. So we've got an untested resistance here in the S&Ps. If this will print where I want it, at 29.0875s. So what I'm going to be looking for here this morning, same thing here with the Nasdaq. I'm looking for initial move lower right here. 28.79 is where we're currently printing, just under yesterday's low, right? And what I'm going to look for is the quick flush down here to 28.69 quarters, sometime between 9:30 and 10:30 this morning. And then from that point, if we can set up some type of either a divergence or NASDAQ kind of comes along and tags its support levels and things like that, if we can get a setup at that level, I'm going to be looking to establish some Nadex positions there on the day. And then I'm also going to be looking to establish some potential swing trades here for a move back up into 29.0875s. And the reason I want to do that here is we've got lows here at 28.66, 28.6650 on this move. So that's not to say on the first push down here that we can't test that level and kind of get like a little failure to go lower pattern here, or a double bottom as people like to call it. But in my mind, I call it a failure to go lower, failure to go higher plays, and kind of a little like FU pattern where it'll just kind of come down here, take out these lows by a few ticks, and then the reaction that occurs from that point is what's going to be crucial. So if we can get solid bids back off of those lows, if we get them back up through this level, then that's where I'm going to be looking to step in to the long side here. And like I said, I want some type of confirmation with the divergence, or I want the other markets in alignment with that as well. So if that's not making sense to you guys, feel free to throw some questions in there. Let me know, what it is that isn't making sense, and hopefully I can try and explain that better so you guys can get the most out of this morning in this trade setup here that we're watching for in the S&Ps. So coming back down towards lows here, I'm watching just on the 8 grid over here. So you can see we're coming back off of that previous day's low here, 28.79 off the rally there, and starting to push a little bit lower. So looking for initial move lower. I don't think it's a tradable move lower first thing here, but looking like that is going to be the setup for today there. So that's what we got in the S&Ps. The Russell here, kind of same setup, and the Russell here is a little bit different in the amount of movement that it's had. I mean, the price here, the Russell's moved about 100 points, and that's just a big move for the Russell. So, relatively speaking here, if we're looking at the daily chart in the bottom right of your screen on the Russell, and we flip that back over to, say, the NASDAQ, you can see the same relative strength guidance here, or indication on just a 200 simple day moving average. We're still about 300 points based on a closing percentage from that level in the NASDAQ, and we actually are currently sitting right on that level, just beneath it in the Russell. And then again here in the S&Ps, you can see we've still got about 100 points to go. So overall, the Russell has just been beaten down pretty badly here over the past few weeks. And with that in mind, I'm also still looking at the fact that that could have one of the larger kind of snapback, dead cat bounce, short cover rallies, whatever you want to call it here, that we can see. So I do want to set up some levels in here. And again, we're looking at potentially this pivot here. So this setup right here, this kind of low rally, and then this new low that we got on Monday, right? They just kind of barely pierced those lows right at those levels, and a snap back to the previous pivot. That's kind of what I'm looking for here with that FU pattern, failure to go lower pattern that I was just talking about in the S&Ps, right? So a pretty good example there. That level is currently at 1621 in the Russell, and we are 1620.60 at the moment. So we're pretty much sitting right on that level. Prior day's low here, or Monday's low I should say, is 1619.2, and so far lows on the Russell are 1618.2. So we pushed through that level by about a point here so far on the day. But I am going to be paying attention to this as well for a potential swing, and I may just go ahead and place some alerts and a few orders for some swing options positions in the IWM down there under 1618.2 in case we get down there on the day, just to kind of keep an eye on that and go ahead and put positions on as that comes down. And if that position can get some legs behind it, then we've got a nice move here up into kind of 1662s. So we got about a 40 point, 45 point move or so potential in the Russell from that low. So that's why I'm looking at that as a swing as well back to the upside. And then taking a look here at the Dow, so go ahead and delete all my previous drawings there, and you guys are looking at these charts with me as I'm looking at them, so fresh set of eyeballs here in what I'm looking to do with them. So right now we've got the Dow the strongest on the day. Again, that was the one that was only down 0.24%. And again, it hasn't had as large of a down move as the rest of the markets here. So we can see this is kind of sold off about 600 points, maybe 700 points total, and S&P sold off about 80. So in the same context of a point value, 10 points in the S&P should be about 100 points worth of sell-off in the Dow from just a sheer per tick value there. And we really just haven't had that yet here in the Dow. So the Dow is just a little bit stronger. So to get another 100 points down on the day, 26,418, right, down to 26,311 here, excuse me, in the Dow is going to be a good setup here for me to take this back to the long side. And that 100 points to the downside should line up here with about a 10-point move down in the S&Ps, which is going to put us right at our 2869 quarter level in the S&Ps. Right, so a couple of those things lining up and kind of coming together there, and now it's just a matter of a wait and see game if we're going to get that move to the downside initially here in order to take advantage of those trades. So that's what I'm watching here this morning when it comes to the four indices. I really haven't taken a look at gold or crude or any of those over the past few days with everything that's going on. So a couple levels here still marked in from gold, and you can see we've been kind of bouncing right at those levels. Overall here, I don't really know what's going on with this gold daily chart, but we've just had kind of a bloodbath to the downside, over basically 200 points this year, and just in the past few months, basically over summer, about 120, 140 points, and now we're kind of basing sideways. So I don't really see much to do in the shiny metal there. And then with crude oil did not, at least I did not see them on the calendar today. Let me double check. I feel like it got moved because of the holiday, right? Let me see. So Wednesday, October 10th, Tuesday, yeah, or sorry, Thursday. So right now we don't have the crude oil inventory numbers or nat gas numbers today because bond markets and everything like that were closed on Monday, Columbus Day, banks closed, all that stuff. So we've got the crude oil inventory numbers here coming in tomorrow at 11 a.m. and nat gas at 10:30. So I'm really not going to be paying attention to crude oil here either. It's got a level here kind of 75s or so. And from a larger level weekly standpoint, crude has the potential, again, have to rebuild all of my processes here. And let's go ahead and apply. There we go. Crude oil here is kind of getting up towards the stopping point that it had, or at least a holding point that it had in late 2014. So we're back at levels that we haven't seen in about 4 years here in crude oil, and we've got a nice weekly uptrend going. Again, here's kind of that failure to go lower FU pattern as well. We kind of come down, we pierce those lows. Even on a weekly chart, this same type of pattern still works. And it was actually one of the patterns that we used earlier this year, actually, for about a 10-cent move in the Euro USD as well. So overall, really nice looking move here to the upside in crude oil, and now it's just a matter of, I think it's going to have some digestion time up here and consolidation. and you can start to see that we are getting that whipsaw action up here. So not going to really pay too much attention to crude oil, at least today, with those numbers coming out tomorrow. So that's what I've got there for the indices, gold, crude, kind of waiting on those. If you have any symbols you want me to take a look at or individual equities, feel free to go ahead and drop those in, and I will take a look at those for you here this morning. Hey, what's up, Ryan? Whale trading morning. The Discord link is not working. Yeah, so we're finalizing the pages and stuff on that in order to get into the Discord here between today and in the next few days. So that link right now is just a static link, and it will work here shortly. Whale trading. I kind of like that name. Awesome. Sounds good. All right, well, if you guys don't have any symbols or anything for me to take a look at here, then I will go ahead and wrap this up, and let's see what we can make of the day. I mean, we've got some really good setups here, potential swings that can turn day trades that can turn into potential swing trades. So I'm liking the setup here. We had a really nice setup last was it last Friday or oh no, it was 10/8 Monday. Wow, it felt like it was further back than that. So let me pull this chart up real quick, and I'll just show it between the S&P, Nasdaq, and the Dow here. So my cursors are all drawn together. So anytime you see a point on the chart, that is going to link up there. So S&P's here, you can see came down, almost tagged those lows, 28.66. We had a low at 28.6650 on this move, and we set up a really, really nice divergence right here in the Nasdaq on Monday that led to kind of this move that we've had about 150 points or so off of these lows to yesterday's highs. So really nice divergence, clean setup right there. You can see you've got the signals here, and overall this works out about like I said, 150 points from entry to highs, depending on where you exited that position. So really nice clean setup there. And again, you can see the Dow here was stronger on Monday, and this was an indication potentially going into this week to keep an eye on that Dow, and that's still holding true here today, just a couple days later. So we did have that divergence there on Monday that I thought was a really, really clean setup, and I'm going to do a video for that and a breakdown for the MLT Pro members. And then also we had a nice divergence yesterday here on the highs, and again notice this divergence right here in the Dow. So at about 12:05 Eastern time, the Dow was the only market to get new highs on the day. Again, Dow being the strongest market out there right now from a just relative strength, relative weakness standpoint, and that was the only market to end up getting those highs. And then you can see Nasdaq sold off back to open, S&P sold off back to open, and Russell actually ended up putting in new lows on the day, which is not surprising because we just looked at the Russell charts, and that is the weakest market out there and had that biggest move. So really, really clean divergences this week so far for Monday and Tuesday, and hopefully we can find one down there towards those lows for us this week on and line up with some levels. Yeah, exactly, Parker. That was almost picture perfect here with the Nasdaq from Monday and the Dow from yesterday. So really clean setups happening in there. All right, Well Trading said Euro USD. I'll take a look at Euro USD real quick here. We got about 2 minutes before the bell. Euro USD getting some movement here first thing this morning. I'm going to say continue to the upside. So we've got, again, if you look at this daily chart, we've got kind of that failure to go lower pattern right there. You can see we've got a nice move down. We rally up, we pull back, kind of test that level. We pull back, we break through that level. Look where the closes are. The closes are above that prior low right here, kind of down towards the 1.1463 levels. And then now we're getting, a nice move to the upside here, 1.152s. So I would look for continuation to the upside here in this market. Again, another failure to go lower type pattern right there on the hourly chart that's led to this breakout here. And I would say at a minimum, this should kind of retest back up here into, man, my mouse and my drawings, struggling. 1.15356 here. So we got a little bit more room to go there on the Euro USD. And if it can get through that level, then we've got some room kind of up here towards 1.158. So really, really clean looking lows in the Euro USD so far there. So, all right, guys, that's what I got. Market just opened. S&P's here down 10 and Nasdaq down 50. Let's see if we can get that move to the downside. I'm going to be paying attention to those levels, and I'll be talking with you guys in the Discord if I do put on any of those positions, whether it's a day trade or a swing position here in the markets. So that's what I got for you guys. Take care. Appreciate it. Give me a thumbs up. If you are not already subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. And for those of you in the Discord, I'll see you guys in there. Take care and have a good day.